Hello. Mic test, mic test. Okay, we're good. Another uncut entry. And to be fair, I'm logging this entry a couple days late. But who gives a shit? Anyways, this week, not this week. Last week, I got ill in the weekend, and then pretty much just recovered throughout the week, beginning of the week, and had a couple of bar shifts here and there. Again, didn't work much on Pioneers of Greatness. Went to the gym maybe just twice because I was still recovering. And I did a shout out to Ibrahim. He reached out to me maybe a couple of weeks ago. He wanted to do a sort of, how could I say this? An interview basically. So he came over to my flat, did a little interview, had his camera mic'd up and everything. So that was last week. And yeah, doing those things, man, like it's just a way for me to, get my stories out there, my journey. I mean, already do it for myself with Uncut, but it's always nice to jump on someone else's platform, or if someone's building a platform or whatnot, I'm always happy to jump over and, do an interview. I've done it in the past. And yeah, man, who or at least for me, I love just talking about my journey, and then, seeing how I've progressed throughout the time. But yeah, that was what happened last week. Nothing crazy. So yeah, I think now I'm trying to, you know, find a flexible routine that I can implement, since my bar shift is very, it fluctuates. I could be opening one day and then I could be closing the other day. So I've sort of planned out a routine where if I'm, opening, then I'll go to the gym after work, and then have a like an hour block to do, depending on the day, either focusing on, Pioneers of Greatness, doing client work, and then for closing, vice versa. So go to the gym, you know, before work, and then do a bit of client work, POG, whatever, and then, go to my part-time job. And then during the days I'm off, then it would be, 3 focus blocks of working on Pioneers of Greatness and whatever, depending on what day it is. But yeah, no, I think it's just being ready, and having that plan depending on the day and being flexible with it. Because the past couple of months since I picked up the part-time bar job, it's very I haven't had a routine that I've followed to a T. So now I'm analyzing. I'm like, yeah, I could be more efficient in the way I, follow through with my day. But obviously, I'm not like trying to be like a robot and then, what do you call it? Maximize, every single minute, Nah, I'm just I just want to be able to block my time and then have like a focus block to do the work that I need to do within that time frame, and then and then go to my part-time job or whatever. But yeah, no, it's just one of those learning curves. Like I've had the part-time job for, I think 3 months now. So, I'm slowly, finding my way around it. And then that's where it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, do I really want a 9 to 5? Like a 9 to 5 would be great because the pay would be greater, but then the trade-off for that is you'd be it's fixed hours, depending on what I apply to, is usually from Monday to Friday. It's fixed hours, 9 to 5. And then from there, depending on where this 9 to 5 job would be, I have to take into account travel. It could be an hour and a half, and then, multiply that by two. Then that becomes 2 hours, 3 hours, and then fitting in going to the gym on top of, building Pioneers of Greatness, doing client work. It's very tight on time. So I'm sort of being more strategic on what 9 to 5 I can apply for. Especially if it can be like a part-time or even a remote, or one of the most those ones that are more, forward thinking, that are implementing, 4-day weeks. Those are sort of like the criteria that I'm slowly formulating for a 9 to 5 job, and but then again, with my current bar job, I'm grateful that I have one, because at least there's that pool of money that I know I'll get at the end of the month, which I can then, reinvest into my into Pioneers of Greatness, and then also, cover, you know, essentials. Because back, to be honest, the last couple of years, I've been operating on, almost zero to no funds, and I managed to make, movement. So this is just like a step, a couple steps upwards. So now that I have some capital to play with because of the part-time job, then I could, do a little bit more. But yeah, it's just I'm sort of there's some urgency surrounding this, because I'm close to my 30s. I'd like to start a family before, before I reach my mid 30s. So I got a good, half a decade and a bit to get things in motion and get things, stabilized in terms of financial stuff. But yeah, it's just those things that you have to like take into account when you're building a business. There isn't like a perfect condition that you could, build things. Like it would be great if I'm in a 9 to 5 that's stable, that's, 4 days a week, good great pay, workload isn't too much, flexible, and then, I could fund my entrepreneurial ventures, so then I could, slowly transition out of the 9 to 5. But that's not the case at the moment, so I have to make do with what I have, and just do it, like you're never you will never be ready, so just do it anyways. Because if you wait for that perfect condition, it will never arrive, and then you're just gonna procrastinate and waste your time away when you could have started a couple days ago, a couple months ago, a couple years ago. So I think it's what this period of my life is teaching me is that I just need to act on the urgency a lot quicker. Like boom, boom, boom. Like forget it, man. I don't need to wait to get a 9 to 5 in order to drop this, do that, and blah blah blah. But yeah, no, it's just those things where I have to really analyze. No, no, actually, correction. I don't need to analyze. I just need to do, and then analyze later. But yeah, no, I'm slowly realizing this, which is great. It's better to realize it now than later or never. But yeah, no, for in terms of like pioneers of greatness, what I realized is as much as I wanna develop these complex garments, such as like the denim jacket and whatnot, those type of garments they cost money to produce, even and time, especially if I'm gonna do made to order. That's still like doing a denim jacket made to order is still gonna take time, a lot of time. So I think for now I will approach it by like how I did with Galanachi, pushing out, you know, graphic tees, hoodies, jumpers and whatnot, and have that as sort of like the bread and butter that would then allow me to move closer into developing and producing and manufacturing the more complex garments like a denim jacket, jeans, caps, knitwear, and all of those other things. Because in reality, if you're building a business, you need revenue. And if I don't have anything out in the market, then that means the business is not making money. So I need to bridge that gap a lot quicker and have products out there. It doesn't matter if the quality isn't as high standard as I would like it to be, or it's not the silhouette or the specific cut I want it to be. But right now, since I'm starting again, the important thing is to have product out there, and then have that feedback with the customer, and then slowly snowball that into bigger drops, more complex garments. But yeah, no, I really need to get products out there, so I'll probably even launch Pioneers of Greatness sooner than 2026, and go back to that in-house screen printing in-house, and packaging all these orders myself and whatnot, having a Shopify shop web store set up ready for people to browse through the products. But yeah, no, that's what I've realized the last couple of days. And what time is it? It is on 14 minutes. What else is there? Let me see if I missed anything. Not really, man. I think I pretty much covered those things. But yeah, man, honestly, it's tough, man, building a business, especially when you don't have a stable, financial, if you don't have financial stability. But luckily enough, I have a supportive partner, covering the rent and whatnot. Like I've said time and time again. And she's also like moving up in her career. She's going to become an architect soon. She's starting that part three, which is the last part of when you complete your architecture degree and then become a chartered architect. And then that just means you'll get paid more. Nothing crazy because the architecture industry doesn't actually pay as much as you'd think. That's why I decided to not become an architect and just focus on building a business and whatnot, even though at this very moment I'm financially unstable. But those are just the risks that come with building a business, working towards your dreams. There's always a trade-off, and the trade-off is never pretty. You gotta on live under your means for a couple of years in order to get to that point where boom, you can live lavish. I mean, I'm not gonna be if I once I become a millionaire, I'm not really gonna live like a crazy lavish lifestyle. For me, I just want to be financially free, financially stable, so that I can you know have capital to invest in my business, develop products, create products, manufacture products, push products, and also have and be able to have my own studio, even if it's a home studio, to work on personal projects and whatnot, and invest more into my health, and obviously starting a family and whatnot. Those all require money. So those are the things I'm working towards. But yeah, man, this is it, man. This is the reality. It's not all fun and games. But good thing I'm documenting the journey, because then I can look back and be like, yeah, man, ah, I really went through it, man. I went through the trenches. And then when I do make it, then I'll be more grateful and more, how do you say it? More humble in a way where I'll be like, yeah, nah, I got here because I had to go through the trenches and dig deep. But yeah, I think I'm rambling on. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I am out. I'll catch you lot next week. Peace.